Jayden Daniels or Shedeur Sanders? Carson Beck or J.J. McCarthy? Drake Maye or Quinn Ewers? That is the question we're going to break down today on the DNVR Broncos Podcast, live from the Toyota Lounge here at the DNVR Bar, where it is going to be popping tomorrow night. And I'm joined by Super Bowl 50 champ Todd Davis, Ryan Koenigsberg. You're here behind the camera, and yours truly, Zach Stevens.
What's going on, boys?
Man, we're on the eve of playoffs and madness starting here at the DNVR. I came down here, took it all in for a second. All the TVs are lit up right now. We've got all the signs down there ready for the playoffs.
Yeah. Speaking of playoffs, can I tell a quick story?
Yeah.
So
we always expect to start with a story when you're on.
The golf league I've been talking about all year.
Another one? Another person?
Oh yes, actually.
Wow.
But that's not where I was going with this. I will get to that for the fun of it, because it also relates to the playoffs. Last night, semifinals and finals scheduled same night. So normally it's 9 holes. We got to play 18 if we make it. We go to a playoff in the semifinals.
Wow.
Win the playoff.
Wow.
Go to the finals. Basically tied going into the 18th hole. And we pulled out the win.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Damn.
And before we started the match, a notable Denver sports character was in the bay next to us and said, "I want the winners." It was too late by the time. We didn't finish until like 11:30, so we couldn't play him. But I'll tell you that they will be participating in the playoffs very soon.
And they're a figure, so not a player.
They are a Denver... Well... No, figure just makes it anything.
Right. But they're participating in the playoffs.
Yep.
So I'm thinking executive or coach.
No.
So it is a player.
Yes.
It is a player. Why didn't you just say a player? A sports player. That threw me off.
I wanted you to be wrong for a second.
So a nugget or an Av.
Starter.
A starter. And
really?
They're saying they're a player now?
Yep.
Oh.
The Avs played last night. So I'm going Nuggets.
Yeah,
good point.
It's KCP. I don't know. It feels like it's KCP to me.
It is KCP.
I was taking the slow approach. You hear just threw one dart, and that's all I needed.
There it is.
Damn,
Bullseye,
that's
baby.
dope.
Big,
KCP feels like the kind of guy that would play golf and then be like, I want whoever's back.
yes. And he was gone by the time we were done, so you
Okay.
don't have to worry about him being out
adequate
too
sleep.
late. Yeah.
You almost put him on blast.
But he also, it's 2 days.
Yeah.
Even if he was there till 11:30, I don't think that would have mattered.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I think the stories
golfer.
I've heard, basketball players
Yeah,
have quite a different sleep schedule.
Football players too.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, man, big golfer, KCP.
Dang, that
Super nice
is-
guy too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we got your golf story out of the way. Now I need your guys' opinion. We got a stacked show today, by the way. We got an awesome topic in the first. New uniforms? We got a leak? We're going to talk about those and show them in the second. We got Sam Monson joining us in the third, and then we have a very fun draft in the fourth. So the Broncos need a quarterback. It is so clear. Sean Payton was the one who told us yesterday the Broncos need a quarterback. That's why I'm convinced they're trading up to get a quarterback in the draft this year. But they could wait a year until next year. If they fully embrace a rebuild, they might draft Brock Bowers at 12 and then build the team around a quarterback and then go get that quarterback next year. That's kind of the way that, Todd, you've been saying is the smart way to build your team. So is that the way the Broncos should take? Should they draft a quarterback this year? Or should they wait a year and try to be responsible to get one next year?
I think they should wait a year just to put themselves in the best position. We'll have much more capital. We'll have much more picks, things to trade. If we need to trade up in the draft to get a quarterback. The only thing is I still am a Michael Penix fan, and so he will be there at 12. So it's tough to say, just pass on him and, build the team. So it puts me in a little bit of a dilemma. So Long term, yeah, they should probably pick somebody else at 12. But with my heart says they should just pick Michael Penix at 12.
And you think the Broncos front office is going with their heart?
Not this time. I think they went with their heart before.
That's for sure.
And that's put us in the situation we are now.
I like that. So wait.
Yeah, sadly.
So your question is, what should they do, right? Or what will they do?
What should they do?
They should wait. They should wait. Because depending on where they pick, if they do trade up, maybe I'll be more convinced. But you're probably looking at the 4th best quarterback in this draft at best. That doesn't necessarily mean much. There's been some great 4th best quote-unquote quarterbacks in the draft. But as I've said a million times, the numbers do say the higher you draft someone, the higher they have, the better chance they have of succeeding. And obviously, the higher a player ranks in their position class, the higher chance they have of succeeding. Personally, I'm just worried about them pulling the trigger because they feel like they have to. And I must say, I've been really worried about that for a while. I've never felt more confident that they might not pick a quarterback than yesterday.
Wow, the complete opposite of me.
When Sean Payton said the Broncos need a quarterback. Because if I've learned anything about pre-draft press conferences, it's that no one says anything they don't want to say. Everyone goes into those with a plan, and everyone is trying to accomplish something. Now, would I be completely shocked if Sean Payton just like doesn't give a shit about that?
Yep.
No, I wouldn't. But he's also a chess player. And so I also wouldn't be surprised if he said that because they really want someone to unload and give them a huge haul of picks because they want Drake Maye, who's sitting there at 12, and the Broncos don't actually like Drake Maye or whatever it may be. So I thought that might have been a little bit of posturing, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe they are looking at this. And then, like, George Payton saying they like 7 or 8 quarterbacks also seemed like BS to me. I was like that set off my meter. I was like, 7 or 8? What are we doing here? So maybe that was also his way of saying, like, we're cool with taking Joe Milton in the 4th.
Right. Yeah, and there was a really interesting dynamic with Sean and George yesterday. George kind of started off by saying, we'll get a really good player at 12. Trying to draw out that NFL line that everyone does in these pre-draft press conferences of we're not going to tell you anything. And then Sean being like, yeah, we're definitely certainly a possibility we trade up. And then George being like trying to pull him back a little bit. And so don't really know what's true. And so I think it's fair that you read into it that way. I read into it in the very opposite way, that they're going to trade up to get their guy. And if I knew when it comes to this question.
Wait, real quick. Todd, which way do you read it?
Well, in my mind right now, I was thinking about just Sean Payton as a head coach at the Saints. And we always are comparing everybody to being somebody that Sean has to like a Drew Brees. But if you look at their list of quarterbacks, there was tons of quarterbacks. And everyone that came in the building, of course, Sean signed off on.
Yeah.
And there was a lot that were not like Drew Brees, but Sean saw something that he liked.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking in this draft, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Hall of Fame quarterback that he likes. It just has to be somebody that can play football to his level. And I'm sure there has to be at least more than 2 guys out of this top 6 or whatever that he feels like he can turn into the right player. So, make me think like maybe we could get a quarterback that doesn't have to be, that could be the 4th best, and Sean can turn him into something that he likes.
Yeah, and Sean goes back to, Drew Brees was on the open market, a team that the Chargers didn't want him, and I was able to take him from being a good quarterback to a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm sure he has that exact same confidence, and that's just why if I was told the Broncos would successfully tank this year and they would have a top pick in next year's draft, and I'm talking 3, 2, or 1, then I'd say you wait for a quarterback. But you're not guaranteed that, and you look at Sean Payton's history, the worst he's ever been as a head coach is 7-9.
He's never had Jarrett Stidham as a starting quarterback.
He did have, and Teddy Bridgewater probably better, but he did have Teddy Bridgewater, Trevor Siemian.
Teddy Bridgewater is a second round draft.
Yeah. Trevor Siemian, 7th round pick. I love Trevor though.
When was Stidham taken? 4th?
Yeah, somewhere around there, mid rounds. So yeah, maybe it balances out to be that Jarrett Stidham type of guy. But what you what you know
Fourth round.
is more valuable. He's a 4th-round pick, yep. What you know is more valuable than the unknown. You know how much it's going to take to move up to get your guy this year. I don't want to play in the unknowns, because if you put your chips in an unknown bag, and let's say Jared Stidham and plays a little better than we all think, and they end up at 8 and 9 again, and you're in the exact same position next year, now you just kick the can down the road one more year, and maybe Shedeur is the guy you want, and he's the Caleb Williams of this year, where the number 1 pick is saying, nope, nothing we can do, or nothing you can offer for us to trade for him. And then you might even be in a worse position, because now there's 6 first-round quarterbacks this year. Next year, there might be 3.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I just think you're being a little bit too optimistic about the quality of the Broncos roster. I don't think they can luck their way into 8 wins without a much better quarterback.
I would agree. I would agree.
But Sean's never lost more than 9 games.
Who do you think?
in a
Who's the
season.
worst Week 1 starter he's ever had?
So after Drew left, it was Jameis, and was it just Jameis?
I think so.
Every year?
It was just wasn't it just 1 year? How many years was he there after?
Maybe 2.
I'll make the argument for Jameis being worse than Jarrett Stidham. Is 30
No, bro.
interceptions.
No
30.
way.
He had a 30 for
That's
30
insane.
season.
He was the
Yeah,
number 1 pick.
Yeah, I'm not really going to make that argument, but 30 interceptions is historic.
Yeah, I would kill for a 30 touchdown, 30 interception season just because it sounds fun to watch, which the Broncos have not been for a while.
And
I
like
guess there
5,000
was like a
yards, too, I think.
6-7 game stretch last year that I shouldn't completely discount. Yeah, I'm just saying he's had a very blessed career from a quarterback standpoint, and I think he deserves credit for what he did with Drew Brees, but there's a big difference. That makes a huge difference that 90% of your career was with a perfect match for you at quarterback.
Sure, it's very fair.
And, Todd was kind of talking about how it doesn't have to be Drew Brees. In fact, I think if Sean Payton were like picking, I don't think he would have ever picked Drew Brees in terms of if because he did pick Drew Brees, but what I'm saying is like from a prototype standpoint. Like, I think he picked Drew Brees because that was the best quarterback out there at that time. And that was leading to my point, which is if you read the story of Sean Payton's recruitment of Drew Brees, there's a long part in there about the board. They got on the board together, and Sean Payton was drawing all this stuff up and was like, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? And him and Drew were just kind of like cooking together. There is a part in there where Drew was like, wait, is this the stuff you run? And Sean was like, no, this is the stuff I think you should run. And I like that you've already run. And Drew Brees was blown away by that, and that was kind of what sold him on going to play for Sean Payton. But I think if they draft a quarterback this year, it's because Sean had a similar experience like that with someone. I kind of have the gut feeling it would have been J.J. McCarthy.
I think it is.
Where they had like a moment, and that's why J.J. McCarthy will talk about the Broncos any chance he gets.
It's true.
They're kind of both hoping for each other, but
Yep.
I don't know if it's actually going to work out that way. But I think that's what it comes down to for Sean. It's not about, how big is your arm? How tall are you? How athletic are you? I think there's certain traits that every coach is going to say, in a perfect world, I'd like my guy to have this, that, and that. But he wants that guy that they connect when they're talking about the offense.
100%. Speaking of that connection, who do you think when they found that connection in their meeting together, who do you think threw up the heart first? Was it JJ or was it Sean?
Dude, that was one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in my life.
It was.
Did you see it, Todd?
What?
The reporter who-
Clark,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It was cringy. People were saying it was like harassment. I didn't feel like it was harassment. I just felt like, ugh. You know what I'm saying?
So uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
So
It was uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
It was like-
Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was. It was certainly out of bounds.
It definitely was out of bounds. And so, Ryan, just to put a wrap on this conversation, you cleared the air with Coach Prime and
I did.
Shedeur. Tell
I
us
did.
about it.
Yeah, I don't know how this stuff happens, to be honest. But as far as I'm concerned, one of those aggregator accounts, which are maybe the second worst thing on Twitter other than porn bots.
Well, Link in bio.
You don't like the link in bio?
Do you want to say?
Interaction, baby.
Do you want to say the other things that are put in the comment section?
No.
I have
Something else
crazy.
in bio.
I have a far better gift in my bio. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, boobs might be better than misinformation.
Definitely they are.
Yeah.
100%.
All right. So worst thing on Twitter
Yes.
is these aggregator accounts, and one of them just like, I guess they found an article that didn't have any it didn't source Coach Prime saying this.
Yep.
And so what Coach Prime said to Gillian Wallow on $1 Million Worth of Game was, look, there's some teams, like he basically said Travis and Shedeur are going, one of them's going 1, the other one's not going lower than 4. But there are some teams that I'd have to pull an Eli with, meaning he's not going there.
Can't go there.
And smart, because everyone knows that there are places where quarterbacks go to die and will never win anything, like the Chargers. That's why Archie Manning didn't want Eli Manning going there. And look at that. Eli Manning ended up with 2 Super Bowls, is going to have a gold jacket, and Phillip Rivers, who went in his place, never won anything.
Yep.
So that somehow got spun into a list of teams that these are the only teams Coach Prime would allow Shedeur to go to, and it was
6
like
teams.
it was the teams he played for and the Eagles.
Yep.
And the weird part about the Eagles being included is if you watch the interview, the only time the Eagles get mentioned is they're like, one of the hosts is an Eagles fan. He was like, "Oh man, I'd love Shiloh with the Eagles." And he's like, and Coach is like, "Yeah, that'd be a good fit." But like, he's talking about Shiloh, not Travis or Shedeur. And so it got spun into this weird thing. And so then I just asked Coach Prime, like, "What was the deal with that?" He's like, "I never said where I wanted them to go." And then I like kind of tried to soften it. I was like, "So what you're saying, just to be clear, is that there maybe are some teams that you wouldn't let them go, but it's more that than a list of teams you would let them go." And he's like, "It's not a maybe. There are some teams that I would not let them go." And so then I just asked straight up, "Are my Broncos on the good list?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Man, you know how much I love Sean Payton, and he's a winner, and he's going to win."
Yeah.
So there you go. That's journalism, right?
Absolutely.
That's it.
And you did that just a couple of days ago. So we appreciate that. And we also appreciate our friends over at Raising Cane's, where they're raising the bar on the quality and the deliciousness of food. Their chicken fingers are the best you can find. And you got to make yourself a little sandwich. You get the Texas toast buttery bread. Put the chicken fingers in there. I'm putting the cane sauce and the coleslaw on it. Put the other piece of toast. Boom, you are set to go there. It's a little wintry out there, a little cold. Oh man, Raising Cane's are perfect food for today and this weekend. And you should order online or through their mobile app so you don't have to wait in the crazy long line that people wait in because it's such good food. So check them out. Download the app. Go to RaisingCanes.com to order Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
And shout out to our friends over at Toyota. You know, our show is brought to you live from the Toyota Lounge. And Toyota is the official vehicle of the DNVR. And I'm actually looking for a Toyota right now. My son has his permit. He got his permit. He passed his test. So we're looking at cars right now, and the Camry is very, very high on our list. It's a very, very safe car. My wife had a Camry back in the day, and I think it still runs. I mean, we were driving it around. It was like 230,000 miles on it, and it was still pushing. Very reliable, very comfortable. You can't get better than Toyota. And if you are looking for a Toyota right now, you can visit the Front Range Toyota stores near you. We got Auto Nation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. I'll definitely go check out one of them. I won't tell you which, so see too many people there. Exactly. But Toto, the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Todd, can I be your son?
Yeah, I got room in the family. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, let's go. Got to give a shout out to our guy, Tim Evanson from Pleasure Horse. Yes. He does all the music before our show, after our show. He hit me up this week. He's going to make a new intro because Russ, as he said, ruined our last one.
We did.
And we have Mr. Todd Davis rolling with us. So he's going to be added into the intro. and maybe a rookie quarterback as well if they don't wait until next year and get one this year. So shout out to Tim Evanson. We have a lot of people reach out asking who does the songs. It is the Great Pleasure Horse. So check them out and giving them a shout out. All right. Is this the jersey the Broncos are going to unveil?
Todd hasn't seen this yet.
This week. Ryan and I have seen it. Todd, your initial reaction.
Okay, you're going to have to give him a better visual
Yeah,
on that.
yeah.
I asked that. That's fine.
So 2 jerseys, the orange and the white, dropped yesterday.
Potentially.
Allegedly from Antonio Brown's CTESPN network. You can't make this stuff up. And boy, some Broncos fans were losing it. And they said, there was one comment that said, like, if the Broncos jerseys leaked from the CTESPN network, I'm done with this team.
That's crazy. I just think that someone who works at Nike was like, I have these photos. What's the funniest possible thing I can do with them? They're like, I'm going to give them to Antonio Brown.
That would be it. And some reason, as you hear, makes these bigger. A reason why there might be truth to these being the real deal is because the Texans, CTESPN, also leaked the Texans uniforms. And we've also already seen a couple of photos of the Texans uniforms from their owner leak it. And they're the same. So maybe it's a coincidence that they happen to leak.
Yeah,
but
there's also some details on here that line up with the details that we already know about them, such as like an ode to the mountains, which are really just triangles.
Where's the
that's
mountains?
what those are?
Yes.
Where are they?
You can't see them from here. You'd have to zoom in. They're next to the numbers, like all the way in tight. There's like 3 little triangles next to the
I
numbers.
mean, we're talking like centimeters big, right?
Yeah. They're
Like
little,
1 by 1 centimeter.
but that's supposed to be like an ode to the mountains.
I didn't
Which
know that's what they were.
To me, at least, is better than what was being rumored, which is like the mountain stripe on the arm. I thought that would have been extra.
Well, first reaction, I don't know how I feel.
better than some initial reactions.
Yeah, I think I like the white ones more. I don't think I
Yeah.
like the orange ones. It's always tough when they have the quarterback sleeves on there because that looks
That's a good point.
that's terrible to start with. They're okay. I don't like the orange ones. I don't think the white stripe and the shoulder matches with the uniform. I think it just kind of just thrown on there. You know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like it fits well. But they're okay. I don't love them. I'll
So-
say that.
I'm not as disappointed as I thought I was going to be.
Wow.
Everything I had heard about these uniforms made me think I was going to really hate them. These, to me, right now, are just mid. With that being said, I think they might actually look good on the field. Like, you can't judge what a football uniform looks like in this format. You have to see what those stripes look like when they're wrapped around shoulder pads. And so right now, I think the stripes look really odd, but I think they might actually look cool when they're kind of like popped out by the shoulder pads. I would not love these, but I also would not be as, like I said, I had a feeling I was just going to be like, oh God, this is bad. I think this is just okay. The worst part to me is the collar, which you can't really see from here, but it just looks cheap. The style they went with on the collar. I think they might look a lot better on an actual football player.
Well, and I think the 24 is like the best number to use to model these because all I see is Champ Bailey in these right now. And I have no ideas about uniforms, no opinions. I don't know what makes a good uniform, what makes a bad uniform. People tell me the Raiders uniforms are good, and I'm like, it's literally the most basic thing you could ever have.
Do you like Alabama's uniforms?
Of course, yeah.
It's the same uniform, just different colors.
And I think what's going to make or break anything is the helmet. And that's going to be the thing that I think people either hate, and so it makes these just awful, or people love, and it's going to bring the uniform up. And there's also going to be 3 helmets, and there's going to be more uniforms than this. I think people expect a lot of things from a uniform. And for the most part, I mean, did you guys see the Lions uniform drop yesterday?
Fire. Those are fire.
Really good. but kind of like the Raiders last time, very basic.
Yes.
Like outside of the helmets, that blue helmet with the black lion, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what like takes it over the top. But for the most part, like uniforms are pretty basic. This one has a little more than a little basic here. But I'll tell you what, the reaction from fans, Todd,
hate 'em.
you were a little more down on these than I think Ryan was, and you were very nice compared to the
average fan,
90%. Yeah, the average Broncos fan. We can even see it in the Toyota chat. People just killing them, and the comments as well. And we've already heard from at least one Bronco how he feels about this. Let's pull it up, and let's see the reaction. It was one simple emoji. Can you guess what the emoji was?
I think I saw this. Was it Nick Benito?
It was Nick Benito, who's not shy on Twitter to talk about his feelings. Crying face emoji. Not happy.
Are you sure he's not just laughing that Antonio Brown leaked the Broncos uniforms? Because that's objectively hilarious.
Or he's crying at it. This is just the straight crying face emoji, which can you try to spin for me in a positive, Ryan?
Is it the straight tears
Yeah,
or the
straight tears.
Yeah, that's not as good. Not as good. I don't know, man. I've learned my lesson on these things. It always looks worse in that format than it is in real life. Anytime there's a new Nuggets uniform or whatever, and then here's the thing about Twitter. Maybe with uniforms, more than anything else, it is one or the other. Everyone loves it or everyone hates it.
Yeah.
This one to me is just, it's a nothing burger. And I think that what I've learned is like, whatever you do in the uniforms is what's going to shape how people feel about them.
That was like a remember the Titans line. That was deep.
Like, I don't think a lot of people loved those Nuggets uniforms last year with the kind of the 90s colors on them. Well, now when you think about them, you imagine the Nuggets jumping up and down in the center of the court because they just won the championship.
Right.
They were wearing those uniforms when they won them. Like everyone loves the Nuggets black skylines, and they were great from the jump. But also that's because they came back from 2-3-1 series, and like those uniforms were a big part of it. So
True.
the last the Broncos uniforms are the best example. I don't know why I'm going to the Nuggets. The Broncos' last uniforms kind of sucked. But there's a lot of history and tradition and 3 championships in them, so we all love them.
Was this the wrong time to drop him then? Because it might be a tough year right now. First impressions are important.
You could make that case for sure. But it also might be another reason why people up at the top are like, we need a quarterback to, you can imagine like Elway in a certain uniform. You can imagine Manning in a certain uniform. And now you'll be able to imagine Penix in this uniform. You know what I mean? So it's the next thing is what will shape how people feel.
And it's not a coincidence they're dropping these on Monday with the draft on Thursday to potentially have the first person in real life model him be the Broncos' new quarterback. And I don't have to picture myself holding a Breckenridge beer because it's going to be happening this weekend. It's a Breck Brew Friday. And this weekend, Breck Brews are going to be flowing all around Colorado and going to be going nuts here at the DNVR bar. Broncos Country Hoppy Pale Ale. Of course, you can get so many different Breck beers. All the taps are ready to go downstairs at the DNVR bar. And if you can't make it to the bar, but you still want to get your hands on a Breckenridge beer, go to breckbrew.com to find the nearest Breck Brew near you.
Also, check out our friends over at Circa Sportsbook, the absolute best when it comes to value on lines. This year, as we do every year, we did our bet on every underdog in March Madness.
Yep.
And it was the worst year we've ever had. Yet, still profitable.
Let's go.
And I didn't do the math on this, but I'm 99.9% sure had we gone to a different sports book, we wouldn't have been profitable because we were profitable by like 1 unit. And the Circa lines on the underdogs were like 20% better every single time.
Yep.
So they saved us. Thank you to Circa for giving us our 3rd straight year of profitability, betting only underdog money lines for every underdog in the entire tournament.
To be able to bet for a month and come out ahead.
And just
awesome.
not think about it ever.
Right. Yeah.
In like now Lifetime, we're probably like 38 units up on
Incredible. Because the first time was like plus 22 or something.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
Yeah. And then the first time was plus 17. The last time was plus 20, or then plus 22, then plus 1.
Wow.
So I guess we're
Even
plus
more,
40.
40.
Yeah, it's really fun, but it was really, really fun to do it with Circa because they have the best odds. And they're one of the few places that are still having real people set their lines, which is one of the reasons why you get such good value. So download the Circa Sportsbook app at circasports.com. Circa Sports bets can only be made while physically located in the state of Colorado. Must be 21 or older. All rights reserved. Circa Sportsbook Colorado encourages you to gamble responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER or visit problemgamblingcolorado.org.
And just one more shout out. You guys know our draft coverage is brought to you by Raising Cane's. Check them out. Raising Cane's this weekend. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Two things.
One,
we are close to selling out the draft party,
let's go.
which is a huge goal of ours. So if you're thinking about coming over, $15 for a burger and a beer. I mean, right
It's already
there.
cheaper. Boom.
Yeah, you're saving money by coming, basically. And then you can come hang out with us, talk draft. Could be a legendary night that we remember forever.
Yep.
So
Hopefully.
come down. And then one more thing is make sure that you go onto Apple and make sure that you're subscribed to the podcast and have it set to download. Apple has kind of changed up the way they do it. So even if you used to subscribe to the podcast, but now you listen to us here, it would obviously help us if you just went and made sure that your DNVR Broncos podcasts are still downloading.
And speaking of helping us, we're going to have an awesome guest join us right now. Sam Monson is going to help us break down the Broncos draft and where the Broncos are right now. Sam is the PFF lead NFL analyst and the co-host of the PFF NFL show. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Anytime, guys. How's it going?
Doing great. So everyone needs to go check out PFF's mock draft simulator over at pff.com/mock to get in on that. You can become your own GM and build the Broncos draft. And speaking of mock drafts, Sam, you had a mock earlier this week where you didn't have the Broncos picking at 12. You had the Broncos moving up into the top 3.
Ooh.
To select Jayden Daniels. Sam, why did you have that move, and what would that cost the Broncos to make such a big jump?
Well, it would cost a lot. Everybody's talking about the Minnesota Vikings, as the team that's going to get aggressive and going to make that trade and jump up into the top 3 or 4 picks to get their quarterback. But I feel like Denver is every bit as desperate as Minnesota, if not more, albeit with less ammunition to work with. They don't have the 2 first-round picks already the way Minnesota does. But, the Russell Wilson saga. I mean, Sean Payton ran that guy out of Denver. They've eaten the biggest dead cap hit of all time to make it happen. He has staked his reputation on the idea that it could not work with Russell Wilson, and we're going to need to go in a different direction. Well, we need the different direction now. We need the answer. And the obvious way of doing that is to go and get aggressive and go and trade up for that guy. Now, yeah, it would take some creativity in terms of a trade to make happen. The price was set, by the 49ers a few years ago with that Trey Lance deal. That effectively cost them 3 first-round draft picks to make that deal. Denver doesn't have the exact the same terms to be able to make that happen, but I think they could craft a trade to cross that number of picks and get all the way up to number 3 and get their guy, and that would provide the answer. That would give you the quarterback.
Do you think that Jayden is the best fit for Sean Payton? Obviously, taking like Caleb Williams out of the mix.
I think he's a nice fit. I think it's difficult to know exactly what the perfect fit for a Sean Payton offense is. We've seen him run it with a variety of different stylistic quarterbacks and have success with pretty much all of them. I think he's demonstrated the ability to be an adaptable quarterback coach, an adaptable offensive coach to shift what he wants to do to suit the strengths of his guy. So I don't think they necessarily need to find the next Drew Brees, find a guy that's just incredibly accurate, that takes what's there and works the horizontal passing patterns. Aside from anything else, I think the game has changed since Drew Brees was playing. I also think the offense changed, even with Drew Brees as quarterback. If you go back to the days of, Devery Henderson and those guys, they had a vertical, aggressive attacking offense with Drew Brees at the helm. He didn't amass, however many career receiving or passing yards that he did by dinking and dunking it down the field the whole way. So I think Jayden Daniels has got the arm. He's got the kind of the selection of throws to be able to be a high tier passer in a Sean Payton offense. And then he brings the one thing that Drew Brees didn't really have to the table, which is elite level athleticism and a rushing threat, albeit one that needs to be tempered a little bit so that he doesn't kill himself the way he tries to run with the ball.
Yeah, I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. We've also talked about other quarterbacks, and I think the Broncos have started building a special relationship with JJ McCarthy. Do you think there's any way that he's there at 12 for the Broncos to potentially pick him up?
JJ McCarthy, I think, is a big kind of X factor in this draft. Like the narrative more than the general draft community or college football fans or whoever. Like the NFL is particularly high on JJ McCarthy. So I don't think it's entirely out of the realm of possibility that he goes as one of those first 2 or 3 quarterbacks, either at number 2 or number 3. But if he doesn't, if all of that is smoke and actually the NFL sees him kind of the way everybody else does, which is QB4 and a gap from the top 3 guys, then yeah, maybe he does slide that far. And all it would take is Minnesota saying, no, he's not the guy we want, or Minnesota making that trade up to number 3 to select Jayden Daniels or Drake Maye. And McCarthy, I think it's definitely possible that he could slide that far.
And speaking of the trades, I mean, we talked to Sean and George yesterday, and they said we don't know the price of what it's going to take to trade up because we don't know who is all going to try to trade up, and that will spark the demand and the price. How many teams do you think realistically trade up? Because obviously we've heard the Giants might try to make a trade from 6 up. They might also try to go back. Broncos, Vikings, maybe even the Raiders are even in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly no shortage of teams that theoretically could be doing it. How many are actually, going to be trying to make that happen when it comes to draft night, I think is probably a lot smaller number. Maybe we only see 1 of them, 2 of them try and make it happen. I think a big part of it is it depends on each team's individual view of these quarterbacks. And we tend to sort of view it in terms of the consensus, right? The consensus right now is Caleb Williams, number 1, and then Jayden Daniels, Drake Maye, and maybe a gap to JJ McCarthy, but kind of a big 4. NFL teams, each team is going to see that differently. There might be teams out there that think this quarterback draft is 2 names deep. And once you get beyond the second guy, forget it. Nobody else is going to be a high-end prospect. You don't want to hitch your wagon to that guy. You certainly don't want to trade 3 first-round draft picks to go get him. And a different NFL team might also see it 2 names deep, but the second name might be completely different. It might have been Drake Maye for the first team. It might be JJ McCarthy or Jayden Daniels for the second team. So all of these different views on that quarterback class are going to determine which teams are going to be wanting to get aggressive when the draft starts, because if the draft goes Caleb Williams number 1, whoever that second quarterback is going to kind of set the table for which teams are interested in trading up.
Feels like Michael Penix is one of the more polarizing prospects in this class. We're pretty high on him, I would say, on this show. I'm curious kind of where you stand on him.
I think there's a lot to work with. Look, he's got a great arm. He's been through adversity in a way some of these other quarterbacks haven't. He's had to go through multiple knee injuries. He's had to rebuild his career. He took a team like Washington to the national championship game. And if you go back a few months before that game happened, we were talking about him as a first-round draft pick and a guy that was going to go in the middle of the first round and maybe could even sneak his way into the top 10. And after that Texas game, and then the national title game happened, Washington got kind of annihilated by Michigan. And overnight, like over the course of 3.5 hours, he became a second-round prospect. Like he dropped a full round in the space of an evening. And then the last few months has been sort of slowly building back his draft stock and saying, actually, no, there are reasons to think that we might have had it right the first time, that he was showing enough to be a first-round pick. And, the positives outweigh the negatives. So, I know for a fact that there are NFL coaches that think he belongs in the top 3 names in this draft in terms of quarterbacks. And if it only takes 1 of them. So I think Penix is absolutely a live option in the first round, and certainly in that kind of middle tier where, the Vikings, the Broncos, the Raiders are sitting potentially in need of a quarterback with 3 or 4 names already off the board.
We talked a lot about quarterbacks. And, if you look at all the mock drafts out there, it's probably 50% quarterback and 50% non-quarterback that is taken by the Broncos in the first round. if there was any player that was a non-quarterback that the Broncos picked, who do you think that they would choose in the first round, whether it's at 12 or trading up to get him?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's going to be an interesting draft because I think almost all of the top 10 draft picks are going to be offensive players. Atlanta at number 8 is the sort of first team where people are suggesting they might seriously go defense. Dallas Turner is a really popular pick to them. But that means if you're picking at that spot where Denver is, if they don't trade anywhere, you might have, a really good selection of defensive players on the board because you might get the best corner available, or you might get the second best edge rusher or the best defensive tackle. Byron Murphy from Texas is a guy that a lot of people are really high on, or any of the top corners. So I think defense is where the value is going to be if they're sitting at that spot. And then it's a case of sort of which area of the defense they want to focus on. Byron Murphy, I think, would be a really interesting pick for them at that spot. He's a really disruptive, powerful, even as an undersized sort of 3-tech type of defensive lineman. He can play anywhere on the interior and just constantly cause problems for opposing offenses.
Sam, last one for you. Before you get out of here, I got to ask, what should the Broncos do with Courtland Sutton? He sat out this first week of voluntary minicamp, wanting a new contract. Is he a guy that the Broncos have to have? Or do you think there's a chance that they trade him or even cut him if it's contract or bust?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they have to have him, but you sort of look, not so much because of what he is or what he isn't, but you start to look at what the alternative is. You've already traded away Jerry Jeudy. At one point, we looked at this Denver offense and said they have one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. It's a perfect landing spot for any quarterback. Well, one of those guys has been traded away already and had never really become the player we expected him to. Courtland Sutton has sort of rebuilt his career after an injury and flashed some incredible catches last season. But if he's gone as well, it's Marvin Mims or it's Tim Patrick coming back off injury. It's not a good looking situation, even with the idea of adding, another rookie in the draft or whatever. So I think they want to do everything they can to keep Courtland Sutton around. But if he's pricing himself out of that, like if his demands are unreasonable, and I've no reason to think that they are, they might have to go in a different direction.
I got one last one for you just because we talked about it today. We were kind of comparing this year's quarterback class to next year's class and discussing whether it might make sense for the Broncos to go into this year with Jarrett Stidham, end up with a much higher draft pick next year, and thus not have to go for the 4th best quarterback in the class. How do you see next year's quarterback class as of now?
I don't know that it's going to be great, but I do think that there will be a couple of quarterbacks, at the top of the draft that are seen as really high-end starters. Shedeur Sanders certainly is an intriguing name. Like, I thought he had a chance to be QB2 this year if he'd come out, and if he has another good season or has a better season next year, I think he could absolutely propel himself towards being the best quarterback in that draft. Now, you'd have to clear it with Deion, right? Deion doesn't want him playing in the cold, in the snow. So we're gonna have to make sure he's okay with that if he's gonna go to Denver.
I'll send you the clip. I asked Coach Prime himself. He said he's in on the Broncos.
Perfect.
And by the way, we just became best friends. You didn't even realize it.
I was going to say, you just made Ryan's day saying Shedeur is quarterback number 1 next year. Sam, thank you so much for joining us and for all your insight.
Anytime, guys. Take it easy.
Right on. There's Sam Monson. Thank you for his insight.
I didn't even lead him down a path.
Do you think he could see the Colorado sweatshirt on?
I don't think so. It's by the mic.
It's true. You didn't. But I mean, is anyone else really making an argument that he's not, maybe not like a sure thing number 1 next year, but the top guy as of right now?
Yes, tons of people are.
It's true. A lot of people hate Colorado now.
It's kind of crazy, but for every one person who is using logic, there's a bunch who aren't.
And I guess I surround myself with logical people, and
yes,
so that's why I've been hearing Shedeur number 1. So shout out to Shedeur, shout out to you, shout out to Todd, shout out to you here, giving lots of shout out to Sam for joining us, and I got to give some shout outs to our new diehards over this past week. A lot of you have joined us, and I want to give a shout out to a couple of you, and one of them is awesome, and I'm going to read that one at the end. We got Hey Jamal joining us this week, Name Red joining us this week, given to Fly 21, Bobby Stabs, Beast King 18, PJ Cronin, and I kid you not, we had a new user this week. God.
Wow.
God. A shout out to God for seeing the light and rocking and rolling with us as a diehard this week. So if you want to become a diehard,
I mean, the Buffs chat yesterday was telling me I need God, so
you got
he's
God.
found me.
Man,
Everybody
you
does.
asked for him and you got him. And in fact, he's now a diehard with you. And if you want to become a diehard, so many perks, including a lot of perks this playoff season. You get 20% off all merch, 20% off all events. You get a free shirt every single year at renewal, including right when you sign up. You get access to all of our diehard content. And some people have wondered, where is Henry? Well, he's in the comment section. Henry, this is an okay day to be in the comment section because he's working on some diehard material
Let's
for
go.
people over at the
Maybe you should
DNVR.
stop watching the show and do this work.
Yeah, he's like, what? People are like, why aren't you here? He's like, I'm working. It's like, oh, you're in the chat right now.
So is everyone else in the chat, though.
It's true. That's very true. So go to thednvr.com to be a diehard. We really appreciate it, and you get a lot from it as well.
And shout out to Volo Sports. I know the weather outside it's a little cold, but it's still a great day to be outside. Spring is coming. It's on the way.
Yes. We've had a small taste of
We've
it.
had
so far.
and it's been great.
It
I think
was.
the small
Oh,
sample
yeah.
size has been phenomenal. So we can keep that going. I think it'll be great. And it'll be a great time to get outside, meet new people, connect with people via Volo Sports. They have a premier membership, and that gives you unlimited access to sports, events, and social activities every night of the week. From what I hear from Ryan, I know you've been to a few.
Mhm.
You can't miss it. It's a great time, whether you're single, whether you want to bring your significant other. If you have a significant other, I suggest you bring them. Don't just leave the house and go have fun.
It's all like if you want to cheat, man.
No,
like, it's crazy.
Wow.
You're not about to get me in trouble, so I had to put that out there. But you can sign up on the Volo app using code DNVR3 to get your Volo pass for only $10 a month for the first 3 months.
All right.
Speaking of journalism, thing that I've been trying out
Yeah,
a little bit
Big
lately.
J.
Talked to some sources, and
Oh.
I heard there might be some new Volo spots popping up, like some new property and stuff for them.
Oh.
So,
Very nice.
Gotta
Sources
stay
say.
tuned.
Sources say.
I trust your sources. You got some pretty good ones. All right, let's jump in to this draft. It's not only going to be fun, it's going to be informative for the Broncos if they stay in pick at 12. We're going to do the great 12th overall draft where we're going to draft the best players that have been picked at 12 in the NFL draft history. And yesterday, George Payton said, if we stay at 12, we're going to get a really good player. History will tell you there could definitely be some duds there. There
Yep.
could also be some Hall of Famers there. All right, the draft board's set up. We can either go Todd, me, or RK. We can go RK, me, and Todd. Which way do we want to go? Todd, do you want the first pick or do you want back-to-back picks?
Well, if I get the first pick, I get back-to-back picks on the second one, right?
true.
On the
Yeah,
round.
yeah.
So I'll just take the first pick.
There we go. All right. With the
What is
first
this
pick-
list you sent me, bro?
This is-
Why does it only go to 2013?
Oh,
Oh, dang.
I sent you the one that goes to 2013.
Yeah.
There's one that goes to 20. I'll send you.
All right.
There's
thanks.
another link that goes to 20.
You're
There's
holding out on us, huh?
1980.
Well, no, yeah. This goes 1980 to 2013.
Oh. What? I don't know then.
All right. Well, I guess I'm just
Let's see.
gonna have to hope I don't miss any good options in the last four drafts.
I'll send this one to you guys now. This other list only goes back until like 2000. So then if you
You put the two
combine the
together.
two lists, you'll be good. So it's coming your
Okay,
way
all
right now.
This works.
There you go. And yeah, there's some good picks in the past since 2013 too.
Oh wow, I would have missed
Oh,
out on a
dang.
really good one.
Yes, you would have, but will it be there for you? Unsure.
Oh, dang. There's a lot of good ones
Is there one
since 2013.
Hall of Famer right now?
Yeah,
that
I'm picking him with the
Someone
first
that's
pick.
already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Yeah, Todd, I want you to get that guy, not Ryan.
I don't know.
Mm.
Oh, shoot. Henry, stop sending us stuff, man. So I get the first pick, right?
Turn the chat off.
I think I have to go. It's pretty easy, right? The first one,
I hope not.
Warren Sapp.
Damn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy that you got him, Todd, and
I
not
have to.
Ryan.
I had to.
Oh man, Coach Sapp.
Yep, that's
Coach
why I didn't
Shep.
want you to get him. It would have been unfair. All your Buffs listeners that
Yep.
follow you on Twitter would have just jumped all over that. Yeah, he's the only Hall of Famer I
Am
think
I
as of right
undefeated
now.
in drafts this year?
How?
We don't need to talk about
Is that the
revisit.
case?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Let's make sure
definitely
that's
won.
not the
I
case,
definitely
Todd.
won the last one.
My draft was fire though.
Your draft was fire.
Yeah.
I saw that like Bill Gates and Warren Buffett did vote for you.
Those are my only two.
But they only count as one person in this draft, so you
Uh-huh.
only got one vote from them.
I was only like 75% sure I was saying the right Buffett there. Like could have been Jimmy Buffett, could have been Warren Buffett.
Yeah.
they were both the same person in my head for a second.
He probably covered both bases.
Jimmy Buffett
Uh-huh.
probably would have loved Todd's list
Oh,
too.
of course, of course. All right, with my pick, man, I'm gonna go with a guy that I think is probably the second best play. Will end up being the second best player drafted at number 12, but he's
Go
not there
ahead.
yet. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Michael Parsons.
Yeah. it's a good one.
One of the most recent ones, but I mean, just how freaking good he is. The fact that they got him at 12 is wild.
Did he have an off year last year?
It's a good question. I don't know. Definitely not. Not for my draft. No, he had a fantastic
Okay.
year. No, I don't know.
I feel like he maybe wasn't quite himself last year.
He ended up having 14 sacks last year.
It's pretty
He's
good.
balling.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, let's move on. I am
Back to
going
back.
to first take future Hall of Famer Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
Nice.
Also a PHLY affiliate. I don't know.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's like actually like a sick picture in the office of him rocking a PHLY
Oh,
shirt.
that's dope.
Dope.
There's actually another Buffs coach on this list, which is funny. All right, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anyone here. I'll show you.
Hmm. Oh, is he not official yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
Give me, even though he stood us up on Radio Row, give me Sean Merriman.
Dang, that was my next pick.
Yeah, that's a good
Good
one,
old
but you
Sean.
are going in the AFC West for that one.
I know.
Yeah.
But maybe like respect factor. It's like, I remember him. He was nasty. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, that's really true.
By the way, we were supposed to talk to him on Radio Row. There's like a story that he was like somewhat connected to getting Coach Prime to Colorado. So we wanted to talk to him about it, but we didn't get to. But I saw him. Could definitely play right
Oh.
now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's one of the guys that you're like, you're that big and you were that
Whoa, whoa,
fast.
whoa, whoa.
He had his clothes on, Todd. I guess it could still apply.
Wow. How did you make that
digging the
worse?
hole even deeper every time.
I'm going to pull myself out here by going, I'm going to go OBJ with this pick right here. Maybe a future Hall of Famer.
Mhm.
I don't know if his injuries got him too quick so he won't make the Hall of Fame, but when on the field, an incredible player. Todd, back to back here.
Okay, so I got some good ones.
Please.
Still
just
left.
leave
Are you thinking about taking Walter Abercrombie?
I thought about it.
the name, man?
Yep.
Tony Hunter. I'll take Marshawn Lynch.
Nice.
Second round.
That's good.
I think Marshawn's a good pick.
That is good. Maybe a future Hall of Famer too.
Yeah. Ooh, I got a couple good ones.
To be
on
fair,
here.
though, was that actually a good draft pick
for me.
Oh,
Like,
for the Bills.
for the Bills?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh no.
No. How long
Yeah.
did he play with them?
But overall, I think
Yeah, no, he
oh,
ended up
for
being
sure, for
obviously
sure.
an amazing player, but it's kind of interesting to think
Yeah.
about. Like, didn't really work out for the Bills.
100%.
And I'm gonna go with another future Hall of Famer. Aloti Nata.
Yes. That.
I'll tell you right now.
I feel like
Haloti.
that's pretty easy.
HALOTI Nata NGATA.
Should I go with
Real
Jim?
G's moving silence like Nata.
Wow. Should I go with Jim Yazoo Smith right here?
Yeah. Or
Absolutely not. I'm so happy that this guy fell to me. The first Denver Bronco taken on this list. I'm going should be Hall of Famer, but won't be because of his career getting cut short. Ryan
Ryan
Clady.
Nice.
The best left tackle that has ever played. Maybe the best offensive lineman that's ever played with this franchise in terms of when he was healthy. He was a Pro Bowler his rookie year.
Yeah, no, he was really good. You're pandering.
I think you're jealous that I got him right there.
Okay,
There's another Bronco or two on this list.
There are. There's also a buff on this list, but I'm not going to take him. That would be 1980 12th overall pick, offensive tackle Stan Brock.
Wow. What did he do?
Couldn't tell you.
If you can't tell us what a CU buff did, then that means he didn't do anything.
It's hard to say like what someone did when they're an offensive lineman.
It's true. In the 1980s?
Yep, for the Saints.
Probably blocked for... Oh, that's true. Yeah. Not with the Broncos. Never mind. You're right. Yep. That's who we want.
No,
Stan
it's
Brock.
not.
Oh, no? Marv Montgomery? Broncos pick.
I'm going to take Warwick Dunn.
Oh, dang. Love that.
Yeah, that's a good one. You back to back. You're up again.
I know. I'm struggling here. Anyone? Oh, okay. So let's fortify the defensive line here a little bit. Got a lot of Super Bowl champions on my team. And I'm going to add another one here. Give me Vita Vea.
Yeah, that's a good one. Man, a lot of good defense. I mean, it makes sense, actually. The defensive linemen would be studs at 12 because that's a position, especially these interior guys that we're talking about, don't have a lot of value. And if there's an elite guy, probably going to be there at 12.
Yeah.
Not the case in this year's draft necessarily, but just historically. Oh, I'm up again. I will go...
What I'm noticing is a lot of great players at lower valued positions.
Yeah.
So great linebackers, great running backs.
Gosh, and that's just the opposite of what we're talking about when it comes to the
I
Broncos.
know.
Outside of Brock Bowers, who would fit this mold perfectly. Oh, man, I don't know. Do I pander more? Do I not? I know if I don't pander here, Todd's going to take this guy. Todd, I'm going to take your good friend. I'm going to go no Sean Moreno right here, baby.
Smart pick.
This is just
Smart pick.
honestly, the double pander. I hope people see right through the bullshit.
There's no pandering here. It's just
just-
taking great players at 12.
You picked No Sean Moreno, one pick after Vita Vea. With all due respect to No Sean.
Well, who's Todd going to go here? I think it's going to...
No Sean's texting Todd right now. You didn't take
Yeah,
my
I
number
know.
one overall.
I'm going to make sure he knows on Twitter.
Wow. I think you're gonna get punished for this one.
I don't think so. I think people are going to say, wow, a lot of good Broncos on that list.
Dang, this is a tough one.
It is.
'Cause
And
it's
these are your
getting
final
down.
two as well.
Yeah, this is getting down to the. Come on, man.
Jeez. Wow.
I couldn't. All right, so I got.
Wow.
Here's
He's
crack
having
it
a
up.
blast with that one.
All
Why
right.
don't you just throw Deshaun Watson's name out there, too? There, yeah.
I actually resisted
People
from
already are doing that
Yeah.
in the chat for me. I don't
Yeah.
got it.
I resisted from making a joke there, and I'm proud of myself.
Good, good.
I think it was actually too soon.
Your joke?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow. Wait.
20 years before you can make fun of it?
Is that the?
I think there's a
Statue?
Family Guy thing about how long you have to wait.
It's 20 years.
Okay.
That's the rule from Family Guy.
All right. I think it's getting tough, but I'm gonna go ahead and pick a linebacker because that's who I am. I'm gonna take Jonathan Vilma.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great pick.
That is very good.
Oh, back to back.
All
All right. Let me. Dang, all the Broncos are gone.
Well, there's a Bronco from 1971.
I don't know him.
You want to take an offensive tackle, Marv Montgomery?
Nice.
Good old Marv.
Good old Marv.
Let me pick.
Yeah, there you go. Whoa.
I'm gonna pick somebody recent just because he was balling this year. I'm gonna go Jahmyr Gibbs because he was balling all year long. Not a future Hall of Famer yet, but phenomenal rookie season. So
See what I mean though about like these players where it's just like you pick a player who's really great at a lower valued position at 12 and you get a really great player.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. Man, that's just Brock Bowers. Can't get that out of my mind. Man, I was going to go Jahmyr Gibbs. Todd, that was a good one. Kind of wild. The Buccaneers had back-to-back-to-back 12th overall picks.
That is really crazy.
That is
and
consistency.
then they went and won a Super Bowl with those guys.
Yeah. Oh, Broncos 3 years in a row. I don't even know where to go here. Let's see. We've got wow. Is Clay Matthews? Is that Clay Matthews' dad?
I don't know.
I think it might be.
What year were we talking?
1978. Wouldn't that line
it
up?
adds up pretty well.
It
Yeah.
really could. I have no idea where to go. So I'm gonna go Keith Brooking.
Wow.
Another guy who played for the Broncos.
Yep, and just go full panda right now.
All right, cool. I'm kind of glad you guys left me this one. I didn't think I could get him with the last pick of the draft, but
I have no idea where you're going.
he's a really, really good player. Give me Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh,
You already
nope,
picked
already
him.
gone. Boop, second
Yeah.
pick. Yep.
Oh,
no wonder.
dang.
No
Okay.
wonder you couldn't believe he fell all the way to you.
One time I did that in a fantasy draft, and the punishment was you had to shotgun a beer.
Oh, well, that's not the worst
Dang.
punishment. Unless you're already a couple beers
All right,
deep.
well, that would make sense why he wasn't available, or why I thought it was crazy that he was still available. Oh God! Now
Speaking of shotgun and beer, have you seen that new the golf game, the beer golf game?
no, tell
You
us
got
more
shotgun
while I
beers?
stall here.
So basically, the game goes that you play your normal 18 holes, but as you play, it's 2-on-2 in the foursome. And if you want a mulligan, you can get a mulligan, but you got a shotgun of beer.
Oh, okay.
And then also, if the other team has a great shot and you want them to take another shot, then you have to chug a beer and they have to retake their shot.
Wow. So I mean, the round could be over after one.
Yeah,
Depending on how
depending on how
goes.
good it is. Yeah.
Wow, and just one person per team
Has to chug a beer.
has
yeah.
to do it.
Yep.
Wow, that's strategery too.
Yeah. 'Cause
Especially
you can get real
after you've
drunk
had a
real
couple.
quick, yeah.
I bet.
Am I crazy for thinking there's not a single good player left?
Well, there's maybe one or two.
Just go Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. I mean, Deshaun Watson, probably the best
He's
quarterback
for
ever drafted at 12, right?
I think so. I mean, oh man, that shouldn't be a reason the Broncos don't take a quarterback, but
Jamison Williams is the best receiver in Madden for my team.
it's true. He's fast.
Yep.
Christian Ponder, another quarterback that was
Yeah.
taken at 12.
I was pondering that.
Oh, hey, what can you do with this one? Cade McNown.
Cade McNown, yeah.
Yep, with the Bears. Chuck Long, drafted by the Lions.
Sounds like
at
my
quarterback.
offensive strategy in Madden.
There you go. Reminds me of myself.
Oh, man. I don't know what to do here.
Kerry Agnes in 1952, quarterback. That is a very 1952 name.
I literally have no idea.
And that's it. Those are the
This was-
quarterbacks.
but this was never specified as NFL. What was the NBA's 12th overall
Yeah,
pick?
right? I guess I'll just go with a person that people have heard of and might like. And so I'll take Rashawn Gary.
There we go. I like it. I like it. And I'm so happy that you made that because I realized 5 seconds before you made that pick that all of us probably missed the best draft pick at number 12. All of us.
Was it
At the
before
most-
1980 on the list that you sent
It
me?
was before 1980. But then Henry sent us the other list.
We're not looking at what Henry
What
said.
list?
The other list. Henry sent it to us.
Yeah, but
And I just saw it. Super Bowl winning quarterback that is in the Hall of Fame. Joe Namath
Oh.
was picked at 12. We all
Dang.
missed it though.
Wait.
So wait. Oh, because he was picked in the AFL draft with pick 1.
Nah, yeah, that doesn't
But
count.
the NFL draft in pick
Well,
12.
I guess that does kind of count.
Yeah. Well, we all missed it. So that's fun. We're going to put this on
Wait, I feel like
Twitter.
this list is different. Oh, it's also showing you
Yeah.
the 12th pick in other rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Which gets really confusing.
I was like, Cyrus Kwanjo.
The Mountain. All right, we got to get out of here. Go to DNVR_Broncos on Twitter X to vote on who you think had the best draft. Thank you all so much for rolling with us this week. Next week is huge. You're not going to want to miss it. Monday, uniforms are released. We're going to break it down, see if the ones today were real or not. We're going to break it all down. And then, of course, all the pre-draft coverage and the draft next week starting on Thursday. Thank you all so much for rolling with us. Have a terrific weekend. Go Nuggets.
We all silly like the mayor.